Welcome to Weekend Review, where we catch up on some of the headlines making news. I'm joined this week by our good friend from our energy editor, Adam Wilmoth. From sports, we've got Darnell Mayberry, and from our breaking news desk, Graham Brewer. Let's get right to the headlines this week, guys. Graham, a tragic week in Norman with a former Norman North High School principal, Brian Young, being killed by a assailant, a man who Brian Young represented the man's wife in a divorce case against him. The man shot Young, shot his wife, and then took his own life. We had a story today that talked about fears his own family had about him. Talk a little bit about what we found.
Well, Mr. Deffner's daughter and his estranged wife both had VPOs out against him, victim protection orders. But through court documents, we also saw that Mr. Deffner had a 1998 felony conviction, and he really wasn't supposed to be in possession of any firearms. Later, a Cleveland County judge, when awarding a protection order for his wife, stipulated that she did not want him to have possession of a firearm for at least 5 years. So that responsibility falls on the Cleveland County Sheriff's Department to confiscate those weapons. We haven't been able to get in touch with the department to see what efforts they took to take weapons from him, but gun laws in Oklahoma would have made it pretty easy for him to get a gun regardless.
And then in the protective orders, there was a lot of statements from family members about the type of violent behavior that he had been engaged with or had engaged the family. Talk a little bit about some of the things that were the fights, the abuse.
It seems pretty clear that Mr. Deffner had a pattern of kind of a predatory nature where he wanted his family to be afraid of him. That statement was said specifically in a couple different protective orders, that he made it very clear to his family members that he could hurt them if he wanted to. Lots of violent outbursts that included damage to property, and at the time of his death and the murders, he was wanted on several felony charges for kind of an insurance scheme that he was involved in, defrauding his in-laws of several tens of thousands of dollars.
Right, and we have testimony in those court documents from his wife's daughter talking about backing a pickup in through the garage door, nearly striking her, throwing her to the ground. A lot of violent activity there.
Yeah, certainly. This was his teenage stepdaughter, putting his hands on her, getting very violent and very intimidating man.
Yeah, so it's just a tragic story. We'll continue to look into the new details as they emerge. Let's switch to another topic. Adam, at the Capitol this week, the governor unveiled her new budget for her proposal. It's got a whole lot of new taxes for a whole lot of new people, and including utilities. What's the latest there?
That's right. Among other taxes included in that is a tax on utilities. It'd be a sales tax. You're already paying city and county sales tax, but this would add a state tax on top of that. So it'd be about 4.5%. It'd be applied to electric, natural gas, also cable and phone. Just one example on the electric utility, the average Oklahoma family pays about $110 a month in utilities, so 4.5% would be roughly $5 a month increase.
And just like a lot of these tax proposals that she's talked about, not a lot of fans. What's the reaction been from the utility companies?
Utilities are not excited about having this extra charge, having to collect the money and remit it to the state. That also, I mean, every year or so, there's a utility rate case before the Corporation Commission, and so there's some concern that adding $5 a month on top of the rate case that's already before the Corporation Commission that would add about that much of an increase to rate holders' bills that could continue to add up, and so there are concerns from AARP, from some other consumer groups about having these extra charges.
Fixed income folks,
Absolutely.
The elderly, people like that who, a $10 increase can mean a lot.
Sure.
It seems that there's nobody that will go untouched by these new taxes. I mean, they cover far more than even just utilities. I mean, there's doctors, dentists, all sorts of businesses are going to be tapped in this. Can you talk a little bit about and I believe there was some discussion of trying to change the tax structure from one more targeted towards a manufacturing economy towards more of a service-based economy, which is what Oklahoma has sort of developed into. We have less manufacturing type of things to tax. The idea is that we have a lot of things that we can impose a sales tax on that have traditionally escaped that tax.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. A lot of these things, services that are not taxed right now. I mean, even an example with going back to the utilities, on your cable bill, you pay a sales tax on the box that you rent from the cable company, but not on the actual service of receiving cable. And this would extend it to that service as well as the actual hardware.
And the one thing that the governor's office does cite in their budget proposal is that there would be a decrease or an elimination of the tax on groceries, which they say would save consumers anywhere from $340 to $600 and some dollars a year, to maybe offset some of the taxes that they're having to pay on these other things. So we'll see how that all works out. We've got a long way to go. The legislature hasn't even had a shot at this yet, and I'm sure the special interests are going to be out hot and heavy. So let's turn to something a little lighter.
Everyone's favorite subject.
So we have a once favorite son returning to town this week. Kevin Durant's coming back to Oklahoma City. What's the expectation?
The expectation is Kevin Durant's going to get booed mercilessly. The Thunder fans are not happy with how he left. They're not happy with where he went, going to a team that they had a 3-1 lead on in the Western Conference Finals, had a chance to beat and move to the NBA Finals for the second time since 2012, and then he just sort of ditched them. People call him a traitor. People call him other things that I won't say, but it's just unfortunate. The guy made a decision that he thought was best for him, and he left Russell Westbrook, Steven Adams, and the gang here in Oklahoma City when everyone felt like the Thunder was going to come back better and being right in the thick of championship contention again, and then Kevin Durant takes off and joins a team that they should have beaten in the playoffs last year. So it just stings still for Thunder fans, and I think Saturday night's going to be the first time that they can really express their true emotions on how he made them feel.
And of course, they've had the simmering tensions between Russell and Kevin. What was the reaction that those two had when they got together in California?
Yeah, they've played twice now out in Oakland, in Golden State, and it wasn't pretty. They didn't really talk. Kevin Durant tried to say something to him on the court at one point during the second meeting, and Russell Westbrook kind of blew him off. He's still not in a joking mood with Kevin Durant. Someone asked him after the game if they're on speaking terms, and Russell Westbrook pretty bluntly just said, nah. And that was it. So there's some bad blood there. There's some hostility. We'll be writing about it in Saturday's Oklahoman. Words with work friends is what we're calling it, because these guys just keep saying things, going back and forth, and work friends obviously being what Kevin Durant classified the relationship as in a Rolling Stone piece at the start of this season when they broke up and had their breakup.
Something tells me Russell's going to come out a little fired up on Saturday. What's twice a triple-double? That would be a quadruple. I don't know what that would be. Be a lot of points, a lot of rebounds.
He's probably going to have a good game, and the question is whether Kevin Durant can have a good game here in Oklahoma City. He's really been exceptional out there in Golden State. He had 39 points and 40 points in the first two meetings. But can he do that in a hostile building where people are going to be obviously against him for the first time in his career here in Oklahoma City?
How's Golden State doing on the year?
They're in first place in the West. They're rolling. This is a team that won 73 games last year. They added Kevin Durant to that team, so they're rolling right now. And Kevin Durant's playing phenomenal basketball. If not for Russell Westbrook averaging a triple-double and James Harden, another old friend down in Houston, having such a fantastic season, Kevin Durant would be in the MVP race as a top two, maybe one or two guys. But he's kind of a distant third now behind Russell Westbrook and James Harden.
Holy cow, if you'd have kept those three together.
Yeah, if only, right?
What a team, what a team. A lot of news, kind of stuff you can find every day on newsok.com. Pick up a paper, subscribe. We'll see you next week.